welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be a Project Pan update. So I do this video every single month where I just have a full face of products that I am trying to either finish up or hit pan on, and I'm gonna update you on my progress so far. So if that sounds good to you, if you like Project Pan videos, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I would love it if you stuck around. But with all that, let's just get started on my progress. All right, if you haven't seen my last few videos, the next couple of months are gonna be a little bit up in the air. Currently, I am in Cyprus for the month and I'm filming in my Airbnb. So the show must go on. I don't know what the background's gonna look like for the next couple of months. It is what it is. And as long as I have good lighting, we're gonna keep just going straight ahead and getting these updates finished. Of course, I still have all my Project Pan products, so it's easy to still update you. Also, this, if you haven't noticed, is not real. I just got like some temporary tattoos from Etsy from a tattoo artist, and I thought it would be fun to do this while I was out in the sun on an island and kind of had my arms showing. I thought it would be kind of fun. So this is not real. I did not get a sleeve overnight. Now, let's start with all of my products. I am first going to start with the best product, which is my little sample product that I did finally finish. This had 4 little samples of different Smashbox primers. So it had the super lightweight, the 8-hour oil and shine, the smooth and blur, and then the golden hour glow. I believe last update I had 2 of them done and I had 2 more, so I finally finished those up. You know, I liked these okay. I liked 3 of the 4. I really did not like the golden hour glow. If you know anything about me, I'm not really into radiating primers. So it's no surprise that I saved that one until last and then really had to kind of just force myself to use it. So this is finally done. I don't have my stash of samples to roll another sample in. So unfortunately, like, this is just gonna be done and I'm gonna put it in my empties. But eventually, hopefully, I'll roll in another sample in the upcoming months here. But for now, this is done and it's just another sample out of my collection. And then next up, we have primer. So the first primer that I have, the only primer that I have, I don't know why I said the first, but I have this Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. So when I rolled this in, let's see, I rolled it in February of this year. It was completely brand new. In July, I used it 12 times for a total of 79 times since rolling it in. And this is what it's looking like. I'm trying to get like the sides here so you can see. I would venture to say it's about halfway done. Yeah, halfway done. Like, I can even see on the sides here where I'm kind of like scooping it with my little spatula. So maybe like 4 more months. I think I'll have it done by the end of the year, but I don't think this will be done in the next month or 2. It's okay. It's just a hydrating primer. Again, kind of talking about the Smashbox, like, it's just not something that I enjoy in a primer. I bought this because it was super hyped up and I'm trying to just get it out of my collection, and that's it. I won't repurchase it. It's not a bad primer if you like hydrating primers, but for me, I just find it to be an unnecessary step. Now, I do have quite a few concealers that all serve different purposes. The first one being my color corrector. So I rolled this in October of last year. That was kind of like my big refresh month. I don't end the project at the end of the year. I really just go until I finish it and then roll something else. And I've been working on it for almost a full year now. So in July, I used this 20 times for a total of 205 times. Here is what it's looking like. This was pretty much brand new. I'll be popping up my graphics of what these looked like when I rolled them in, but I was kind of unofficially panning this on the side and I just decided to roll it in so I could kind of keep track of usage. Still have not hit the bottom. Use it almost every time I do my makeup, unless, you know, I forget or something like that, but 20 times I would say that's probably about every time I do my makeup, and still no bottom. We're gonna get there, we're gonna get there. But this is very large, it's 4.4 grams. So I'm just gonna keep chugging away. I have some other color correctors in my backups that I would really like to roll in after this. And then after that, like just have one color corrector in my collection and not a whole hoard. Like there's really no point to that. And that's the point of this project. Now my next is my concealer. This is the Nars Soft Matte Concealer. I have the shade Light 2 Vanilla. This is one of the oldest products in my project. I rolled this in at the very start of my project pan in October of 2022. So I've been using this for at least a year and a half, almost 2 years now. October is coming up quicker than I want it to, but in July, I used it 15 times for a total of 185 times. And again, like still no bottom. Now the 185 times is me tracking it since October of last year. So there's a whole year of just untracked usage on this because I didn't start tracking right away. I was still a little bit of a baby when it came to Project Pan, and I've been like adjusting as I go. So I just think that the bottom of the jar is right around the corner. Part of me wants to like put my fingernail in there and just see how deep it is, but I'm really trying to resist here. I will use this to sometimes spot conceal. I don't always need to spot conceal, but most of the time the way that I've been getting my usage on this is as an eye primer. And that was working on me, but the last couple of times, it's just felt really heavy on my lid. So like I didn't use it as eye primer today. I kind of just like spot concealed on my cheeks just to kind of use it, but I really didn't need to. So I'm not sure what the future holds for this. I need to find like a better way. Maybe this is like good for me in the winter time to spot conceal and then use a powder on top. I was really liking that for a while. Yeah, like eye primer hasn't been doing it for me. I don't know if because of where I'm at, my skin's just a little bit more dry. So it looked a little bit thicker on my eyes and just really like cakey. I don't know if it's because I've been using my finger to apply this, and now since it's like so far deep in there, it's hard to use my finger because my nail will hit the bottom. So maybe I need to use a brush to just use more like of a precise application. I need to play around with this, but 185 uses. I'm really happy with my progress on this. I do have another one in backup that's a shade darker because this is quite light for me, and I would like to just roll this out and have it done, but we'll see. I've seen people fly through this concealer, so I don't know why it's taking me so long, but it is what it is. And then my actual concealer, I rolled this in last month. I finally finished up my Catrice Liquid Camouflage last month. And so this is my first month with this concealer, and I really just wanted to torture myself and bring in another pot concealer. And the reason I brought this in is because it is my oldest concealer, and I mentioned last video that this is a race against time because I can tell like it's about to go off. Like it is really old in my collection. So I'm gonna use it, see how far I can get with it until it's just done. Right now it still smells fine. It's still performing fine. It's not giving me any irritation. So I will continue to use it. But I use this, let's see, I used this 10 times in July for a total of 10 times since this was my first month using it. And I'm pretty happy you can already see a dip in there. I don't know, it's not that big of a dip, but I can tell that I'm using it, so that's good. This has, let's see, how much product do you have? This has 5.67 grams. So is that more than this? No. Okay, it's less than the Nars. I was like, oh no, this is gonna take me forever, but it has less than the Nars. And you know, today is the first day that I used a brush with it, kind of like the Nars. I was using my sponge to actually apply this under my eyes, and for the past couple of times I've been noticing it just be a little bit splotchy. I know that this concealer, some people either love it or hate it. I was liking it, but I just started noticing it was acting different on my skin. I've been here a couple weeks now, so it's very possible that my skin's just kind of adjusting to the temperature here. It's a lot different than it is in France. So using the brush today helped a lot. And I actually used it under my foundation versus over. So I think that's the way to go for this as of right now, just adjusting and finding what works for me. I do use this almost every time I do my makeup. Sometimes I'll pull in my Shop My Stash concealer because I also do Shop My Stash to still try and rotate in my other products and not just hyper focus on my Project Pan things. So I don't use this every single time, but I would say like the majority of the time I'm trying to use this. It's, you know, I wouldn't repurchase it. It's not my favorite, but I'm happy to like finally get some use out of it. RMS is a more expensive product and I would just like to not throw it away completely unused. Now we're gonna go into foundations and powders. So my foundation looks like this. It is getting down there. I do not have the original bottle. It's back at home. I didn't bring it with me just for like visual sake. There was no point. I didn't want to take up space in my suitcase, but it is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation. This has long been discontinued. I will show my picture, of course, if I have it, hopefully I do, of what this looks like, but here is how much I have left in here. I believe that these jars are 5 grams of product, and when I decanted it into this, it was pretty much full. It was almost like bubbling, and now it's about halfway in the jar. So I use this 7 times this month for a total of 55 times. I rolled it in October of last year. 7 times is actually pretty good for me. I usually was only using it an average of like 3 or 4 times a month. So I'm really trying to push myself to use this and just finish this up. At this point, like the RMS, like it's a race against time. It's not wearing the same. It actually does look better in this climate, so I am appreciating that. I felt like it looked a little bit dry when I wore this in France, which I think is why I wasn't wearing it as much. But here with like the humidity, it's kind of melting into my skin more and I think looking a lot nicer. So I'm taking advantage of that, really trying to use this up. The only tough thing is like I'm going to the beach a lot, so I'm not necessarily wanting like a full face of makeup all the time. So that's the only thing. Sometimes I'll just do my makeup to do my makeup and then I'll use this, and it worked like that. But 7 times this month, 55 total. We're getting there and I will be happy to see that out of my collection. Now for powders, I have 2 because I'm an overachiever. I have my under eye setting powder, which is the by Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder. This is just a little mini with 1.5 grams. I'm getting through this. I rolled this in February of this year. So July, I used it 16 times, 13 times for a total of 66 times. It doesn't look like I can make a new mark though. I don't use a lot of this. I'm only using it to set underneath my eyes. So I'm not expecting this to go very quickly. I won't repurchase this. There's just other powders I prefer more. I also just prefer a pressed powder more so. I had the pressed powder of this before. When I finished that, I rolled this one in. So if I was to purchase this powder, it would be the pressed version, not the loose version. However, I'm getting through it. It's all right. I like that it's small and compact. It's easy for travel. So eventually we'll just continue working away at this. My exciting powder though, the one that is keeping me going on Project Pan, because sometimes, let me tell you, when you're only using things and like just a little bit amount goes and it's hard to see that visual product like progress, it's hard to stay motivated, but this powder is keeping me going. It's keeping me going, guys. So I rolled this in October of last year. I used it 12 times this month for a total of 113 times. Last month I had pan on it finally, and now this is what it's looking like. I've super expanded the pan. You can even see like down here, I think I'll even hit like almost double pan. Like you can kind of see the lines here. It's a lot more raised on this side. So I think I'll start working the product this way, is how just I'm naturally doing it. But I've really been loving this powder. Once I figured out a way to make it work, it flew by. Once I hit pan, it flew by. So I'm really excited. I've actually been wearing this a lot here as well, on like those beach days if I want something a little bit quicker, or like I didn't wear makeup all day and then I'm going out to dinner. I've actually been wearing the new Charlotte Tilbury foundation stick that I did a review on. I'll link that video up above, but I'll put that Charlotte Tilbury stick on, just blend it in with my fingers, and then set it with this powder. It takes the glow down just a little bit, but also like kind of keeps the glow. This is the Mercier Candleglow powder, by the way, if I didn't say that, in the shade 1. I was having trouble when I rolled this in at first because even though it's shade 1, it is a little bit dark for me in winter, but now it's working perfectly. So I'm just taking advantage of the times I can make it work, and I think that I'll have this done sooner rather than later, definitely by the end of the year. Hopefully like end of September, but I don't want to keep my hopes up. If I finish it by the end of the year, I would be super happy to just have another pressed powder out of my collection. And powder, like powder categories, just a category that personally I don't want a lot of. It's not a category that I super love or want to try a lot of different products from, like blush or foundation. So I would be a lot happier if I could get my powder collection down. And I would just love to have this out of my collection. It would be amazing. Now we're gonna move on to complexion. Ooh, it is sweaty hot in here. I had to turn the air down, and now the hair is sticking to the back of my neck. But we're gonna talk about complexion. I have my cream trio here. This is the Hourglass Sheer Illume Trio. And I rolled this in, let's see, in October of last year. I used it 12 times in July, and I used it a total of 107 times. So I finally passed the 100 use mark, and this is what it's looking like. I did hit pan on the bronzer finally last month, so I've just expanded the pan in the bronzer. Now, when I say that I used it 13 times, just so you know, that means I used every single product in here, not just like 13 times combined, but I use all three when I use it. So 13 times on the bronzer, 13 times on the blush, 13 times on the highlight. I do think that I'm going to hit pan on the highlight before the blush for whatever reason. I'm not sure if it's just because the pan's a little bit smaller, but for some reason you can see the dip more in the highlight. Maybe it's just a little bit more emollient. I'm not sure, but I do think I'll hit pan in this before the blush. I used to use this over my foundation, but I finally started underpainting with this, which has really been helping me a lot in just usage and getting through this a little bit quicker. But you know, I don't think I'll even have this close to finish by the end of the year. Definitely, like maybe if I'm like being positive, the bronzer will be done by the end of the year, but I highly doubt it. I think that I'll have this well into next summer. And then I'll finally have a cream product out of my collection, but I'm hoping to use this before it goes bad. It is quite old. Again, that's kind of the purpose of this project for me, is to just use some of my older things, give them love. If they go bad before I can use them up, you know, it is what it is. It's a little bit sad, but at this point I can only do the best I can do. So this is my cream. I also have powder products, and we're gonna start with my little contour. I brought in a contour instead of a bronzer. This is the Kevyn Sculpting powder in light, and here's what it's looking like. I'm also happy with the progress on this. I'm trying to let's see if I can show you the dip a little bit better. There, I think you can see it. So I use this every single time I do my makeup. I usually use it to just contour my nose. Not a lot of product is gonna come out of that, but at least I'm using it every day. It's more than when I just had it in my drawer. So let's see, I rolled it in October of last year, and I used it 16 times in July for a total of 144 times since rolling it in. I think that's, you know, 144 times, like that's a lot of use. I do think like I'll hit pan by the end of the year, but this is something it's going to take me years and years to get through. My goal on this is to finish it up. For everything that I've talked about so far, it is to finish it up. So I know that this is going to be in here for a while, but as long as I keep chipping away at it, it'll get finished when it gets finished. Sometimes I will just use this to kind of use as eyeshadow on like no makeup days. That's what I'm trying to say. I've even started to almost like contour my eyes, like right here, like my eyes to nose. I've been playing around with that and I've been quite liking it. So it uses a little bit more product, but just playing around with this. Gonna keep using it as nose contour. It doesn't take that long to do. So hopefully one of these days when I'm old and gray, it'll be out of my collection. The blush is the other product that's been in here the longest since starting my project. This has been in here since the very beginning, just like the Nars, so October of 2022. And my goal for this is to just hit pan for blush. I just want to hit pan and then roll in another blush because using them up is going to take too long. This I used 13 times in July for a total of 118 times. Now, just like the Nars, the 118 times is only tracked since October of last year. So I have a whole year of untracked usage on this, but here's what it's looking like. Now, I was feeling pretty down about this blush, like it's just taking forever and it's baked. I should have known better, but I thought I was better than the panning gods. I'm not. However, last update when I put up my graphic of what this looked like in the beginning, I actually felt pretty good going back and editing because I could see how much progress I actually had on this blush. So I just have to keep my eye on the prize. Like I can still see the imprint on this. However, like the imprint was so much stronger in the beginning. So I was thinking like, oh, I didn't even wear away the imprint yet. Like this is taking forever. I don't know if I'll ever hit pan, but I have made progress on this and that's what I need to keep reminding myself. There is like a good dip in the center, almost like it's chipped away. So I wonder if I'll hit pan sooner than I think. But the problem is like because it dips, I kind of focus my brush here because like this is how the product goes, right? So I'm kind of putting my brush like this and I'm getting as close as I can to using it. I mean, I'm using it, I'm wearing it today. It is a very pretty summery glowy blush. It definitely goes better in the summer than the winter. So I'm gonna keep trying to just use it a lot in the summertime, maybe less in the winter, but for now, I'm definitely taking advantage of using this. It's a very pretty blush. I really enjoy it. I just would like to hit pan so I could roll in something else and start focusing on hitting pan in some of my other blushes because that's definitely one of the categories I have the most out of. Just, it's gonna do what it's gonna do. So all I can do is keep using it. I am happy at least with my progress. I was feeling a little bit down about this and I made more progress than I thought. So that's the good thing. Now the highlight I rolled in pretty recently. This is the Nars highlight in Fort de France. And I rolled this in April of this year. I used it 13 times as well in July for a total of 60 times since being in this project. And you can see a dip in there. I'm actually pretty surprised that I can see a dip so quickly. It's not like a huge dip, but you can definitely see disturbance. You can see where I've been putting my brush in there. I only use it for the tops of my cheeks because with my cream contour, my cream highlight, I'll use that underpainting like kind of on my forehead, on my nose. I'll use that to like let the glow come through on the high points of my face, but I only use this on my cheeks to just add a little bit of extra glow. I don't use it where I underpainted with the highlight. So I'm happy with this. Like this had almost no use in it. And I think, you know, I'm not close to pan at all. I don't know if I'll hit pan by the end of the year. Maybe like early next year. But I think that it will come sooner than I think. I think that it will. I don't know how deep these pans go. Like I'm still new to panning, so I haven't hit pan in a lot of things, and I don't know if this just like continues on forever, but I have seen someone else pan one of these or hit pan on this. So I think that it could definitely happen for me. My goal is to just hit pan and then I'll roll in another highlight and give some love to another one. But this one is coming along just nicely, so I'm very happy about that. We only have a few more things. I know I have a lot of items to talk about, but I only do 2 project pans, basically a full face, and then I do an eyeshadow project pan that goes up the same week, the second week of every month. So you should have seen my eyeshadow project on Tuesday, and then Thursday, the second Thursday of every month, is when this project update goes up. So the next one I have is my setting spray, and setting spray has been tough for me because I used to not use it a lot, but it's interesting how like the seasons change and where you live change. I don't know, it's giving me like a whole new perspective on Project Pan since being here, because I have actually been using this, and this was one of the items that was really tough for me to use at first. So I rolled this in November of last year, and I used it 14 times for a total of 51 times since rolling it in. 14 times is a record for me. Like, there were months when I was only using this 3 times, and here's where my line is. So I have it marked here, but you can see like it was pretty much full when I rolled it in, and like my progress lines are so teeny tiny because I would use it like 3-4 times a month. I would really have to force myself to use it. But now with the heat, with the humidity, like I'm really using this to just meld my powder products together, make my makeup look a little bit more natural. So just like some of my other products in this project, I am gonna be taking advantage of the time that I want to use this, want to reach for it, see how far I can get, and just use this naturally and frequently and see how far I can get during the summer months. I don't know, like if I'm going back to France in the next couple of months, if I will still want to use this with the weather changing. So for now, I'm just gonna take advantage of using it, and I'm happy with the progress. I'm almost halfway, and that would make me really happy. Setting spray, just like powder, like doesn't super excite me, and I have probably well over like 25 setting sprays. So I just wanna get this category down to maybe 2, like a setting spray that kind of melts all my powders together, and then a long-lasting setting spray like the Urban Decay or something like that. And that's it. So I have a long way to go to get to that goal, but we're getting there. 4 more things to talk about. I have my little stick kind of products. I have my eyeliner. This is my Dior eyeliner in black. So I rolled this in October of last year. I used it 11 times this month, which is actually pretty good for me, for a total of 66 times since rolling it into this project. And like I said, 11 times is pretty good for me. I usually go for a brown eyeliner. That was part of my, want and to bring this into the project, to push myself to use this, because I have so many black eyeliners that I really only should have one. I'm gonna show you my line markings here. So you can see like where I started. I've been making good progress on this. I've been using it as much as I can. It is a little bit of like a stiffer eyeliner, so it's not like super creamy, which means like it is gonna take me a little bit longer to use, but slow and steady. I've been reaching for it. I feel like I've been finding ways to make it work for me. So I am like even wearing it today. What I've been doing is sometimes I'll tight line with it, or I'll even like kind of just put it on the outside of my eye, and then I'll take a liner or a powder eyeshadow. Like for example, today I took a kind of dark purple eyeshadow that's in my eyeshadow project, and I used that to kind of smudge out the black eyeliner. So that way it's not super stark of a black, but I'm still kind of using it and using that as like a base, and then the purple kind of gives it a little bit something extra. That's what's been working for me, and as long as it's working for me, I'm not gonna question it. It's getting use, and trust me, like the 66 uses, I've had this for years and years. That was the most that this eyeliner has ever seen usage, so it works, and hopefully I'll get that finished sometime in this lifetime. Now for my lip liner, I rolled this in last month. This was like my surprise pan. I finally finished my Dior lip liner last month, and on camera, like the little nub came off. It was so exciting to me. So I rolled in this Kylie Cosmetics lip liner in Dolce K, and I used it 15 times this month. So 15 times total so far. Let me do like a little swatch of it. I am wearing it today. It is kind of like a brownie rose, and I like it. It's not a bad lip liner. It's one of the oldest in my collections. So let me find my line marking so you can see how much I used this past month. It's all the way in the back here since I rolled it in first. Not that much progress, but a little bit. I mean, we have a long way to go, but for 1 month, that's not too bad. I'm using it, I sharpened it, so, you know, I like it. I'm happy to continue using it. Lip liner is also one of the categories I would like to not have too many of, like maybe 5, I think would be a good goal, like 5 different colors. And I probably have, I don't know, 40. So expect to see lip liner in this project until the end of time. I don't necessarily like feel the urge to buy any lip liners as of now. I definitely have favorite formulas like the Pat McGrath, the Charlotte Tilbury I really like, the Natasha Denona, I really like those, but I don't feel the urge or want to go purchase other colors of those until my lip liner collection's a little bit more under control. So that's at least good. Now for lipstick, I have this Buxom Lip Plumping, what is this called? I always forget. Power Plump Lip Balm. I purposely pulled in the lip liner to match this because I've been having trouble using this often. So I rolled this in October of last year. I used it 17 times this month, which is actually pretty good for me. Again, like this was one of the products, just like the setting spray, I was only using maybe like 3 or 4 times because I was reaching for that lip liner that I panned more. But I really wanted to get use on this. I finally hit 100 flat uses. I'm at 100 uses since rolling this in. So I'm feeling good about this. It's just, the thing with this is like I don't like it on its own. I find it to kind of almost sit on the lips, which is why you have to wear it with a lip liner. And that's why I purposely pulled in that lip liner so I could wear the two together. I'm making progress on this, guys. Like I'm actually really happy. Like look at how far down this is. This was brand new when I rolled it in. It had like a little dome and it is getting there. It's hard to make progress lines because it's so chubby that it really doesn't like make a lot of visual progress. But when you look at it overall, I'm surprised because I feel like a couple months ago, it was just flush with this packaging because I remember that being one of my goals. Like, I just want to get it flush with this packaging. And now it's like way down in there. So I'm really happy with my progress. I'm hoping to get this completely finished and then I'll roll in another lip product to work on. I would not repurchase it. It's just not something that I like. They still make this, they still sell it, but I don't find it plumping. I just find it thick and like a wannabe lip balm, but more of a lipstick, but an unflattering lipstick. So I don't know, I don't recommend this product. I don't like it. I am semi-hate panning it, but I at least found a way with the lip liner, like I'm wearing it today, to make it work for me. And sometimes I'll just carry it around with me and have it be my lip product to wear, and that gets use out of it as well. I'm at least happy to see like I've used it 100 times. I think that's a huge feat, like a huge hump to get over. And we can only go up from here. So I will continue chugging away at this. I will only finish it until it gets flush with the plastic. I won't dig down into it. I might add it. I do keep like a little jar of my leftover lip products after I've dug them out and like kind of mix it together. That's kind of weird, I know, but it makes me feel like I'm actually finishing every little tiny thing, and I kind of will just mix it together with everything. So I might dig it out, add it to that, but I will consider it done once I hit flush with the plastic. So this is making progress. And then my very last thing is my fragrance. So I have a lot of fragrance in my collection. Normally you see my fragrance in my background, obviously not today, but we're working on fragrance as well. Really, honestly, I just like to collect the bottles of the fragrance, so I need to start using them, and then I hope to get like a display to display the empty bottles. But I brought in a body spray in April of this year, and I'm working on it. I used it, let's see, I used it 27 times in July for a total of 83 times. I don't think that that's too bad. You can see my line markings here. I had a huge jump from April to May, and then less from May to June, June to July, and then July to August. I have a pretty big jump. The reason I had such a big jump this first month is I brought it with me when I went to volunteer at the dog rescue. So I was only using this because it is like a very light scent. It's not really offending to anyone. I figured since I was going to be around people, I didn't want to have something that was too strong or anything. So that's why I brought the body mist. And now it's a little bit tougher to reach for because I'm not there, and now I would rather wear like an actual fragrance. So I started using this as a room spray. I would kind of like spray my sheets before bedtime, and I've really been enjoying that. It is the Almond Blossom and Oat Milk. It's like their comfort line, so it actually just fits perfect. I kind of became into the habit of like looking forward to smelling this when I went to bed, so I'll probably continue using this as like a room spray. We'll see, maybe I'll use it sometimes, but I've kind of been liking doing that, and that's where I am with this. I expect it to maybe be gone in like 3 months max, 2 if I'm really pushing it, but 3 months max, I think I'll have this done. And then that is everything for my Project Pan. I hope you enjoyed this update. Like, I'm feeling good about my progress, some things more than others, but if you do project panning, I would love to hear down below how you're doing. If you have a channel, let me know down below in the comments so I can check out your progress as well, and we can all support each other. But this is where I'm going to leave you all. I hope you're having a great one, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.